My name is Ruuben. I'm a tattoo artist from Minneapolis, Minnesota. I own the studio 5D Studios, and I'm here today at Ink Magazine. I started tattooing when I was about 21, and it was either that or welding. So I decided to go towards tattooing because I feel like I could express myself a little bit more artistically, as well as not being so much in the heat all day, you know what I mean? The way I learned tattooing was more from seminar DVDs and a lot of going to conventions and meeting people and taking seminars. A lot of online YouTube, and mainly just trial and error, basically. The style I gravitated towards when I got into tattooing was originally large-scale black and gray, really large, horror, dark, black and gray, eviler looking stuff, a lot of skulls, a lot of melted face looking things, creepy stuff, dark art. And then it slowly changed over the years. Wanted to start adding a little bit more color. The color started popping, and now it's more so color with very minimal gray and black and gray. I just feel like I started getting more depressed seeing all just black every day and just dark, and when you would start to do a little bit more color, it like livened up the tattoo and the day, you know? A lot of the color designs I do, I actually design them in black and gray, and then I color them, so then I know that the value is gonna be right when it heals down the road. So it really wasn't too much of a transition, it was just the application, more so. So honestly, I find a lot of the inspiration from like Psychedelic Journeys, a lot of DMT, acid, mushrooms. I'll go to a lot of music festivals, do a lot of that kind of stuff. So yeah, I get a lot of my inspiration from these really deep meditative states, I guess, at times. I'll do a lot of meditating when I think on a tattoo design and I can't see it. I really tried to push myself from not going to Instagram for inspiration and just trying to isolate myself, preferably take a shower or do something where I'm alone and just close my eyes and sit for 15 minutes until I just start to see it form in my head. And that's really where I've been getting all the ideas for the last 6 to 7 months. In that state is a lot of contrasted colors. There's a lot of different colors that will come. Directional flow of showing how things should be positioned will really pop through, and the general idea will just start to show itself. And then from there, I'll take that concept and be like, hey, it was intriguing there, and then I'll run it from there. With the style I'm doing right now, I've been adding a lot of like abstract calligraphy throughout it, which to me like symbolizes like the ether that's separating. So when it's the tattoo has some abstract calligraphy around the subject, it's sort of like separating it from the body, and it's the life substance, it's the ether that's in between it. The tattoo I did yesterday had the third eye on the top of it for this whole psychedelic, visionary, mystical type artwork, but he wanted more horror based, so we didn't add the abstract calligraphy to it. I try to save that for people that are looking specifically for that type of work. So when I start designing the tattoos after I get the idea from meditative state or the thought process, whatever you want to call it, I usually just take a picture of the body part, start outlining flow, geometric positioning to see where things will line up on the body and gravitate nicely. And then where those outlinings of geometric positions are, I'll like stencil the important parts and make sure the important parts are in those so it's like aesthetically pleasing. And then from there, I basically make sure the value, the contrast, and blah, 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 color all the way to the tattoo. The client that I tattooed yesterday really wasn't that picky. He just wanted a horror tattoo, a woman's face. So I tried to meet him in between. He wanted black and gray or color, so we put a little bit of color in there, but mainly gave him the black and gray that he was looking for. Opaque gray, of course. I was trying to think about it. I did it on the airplane on the way here, so I designed it through there, and there's just a lot of clouds, and then looking out the window, there's the clouds, see the smoke, you know, coming off the wing, so did some smoke going through it, and that's where that inspiration came from. There's been a lot of artists that inspired my work. To be honest with you, the biggest artist that inspired my entire career would probably be Brandon Bond. Brandon has inspired the motivation. It was one of the first seminars that I saw was his whole enchilada. Everybody knows about it in the industry, that's been around for a while. I would say that his work is probably, still to today, his concept and everything that he thinks about is really like top notch to me. I would say Brandon has a mind for tattooing that most people could never develop if they tried. He just sees it from a whole nother perspective, but he was one of the first people to really start doing the tattoos like that, you know what I mean? So there's a few guys out in Europe that are killing it. There's a few dudes in Russia that are killing it. There's guys out in Indonesia that are killing it, Germany. There's a bunch of people that are killing it, but definitely I would say the most inspiration and dude that's really like guided everything for my career would be Brandon, for sure. I have noticed since I opened my own shop that a lot of the style that has been gravitating towards me has been a lot of people want things that have to do with expanded consciousness, with UFOs, aliens, ancient civilizations, sacred geometry, spiritual, mystical stuff. And it's really weird because I sort of found myself going down that same path and it all sort of like worked at the same time. So it's gonna be more so that visionary, DMT, trippy, psychedelic. It's just gonna get really, really expansive down that in the foreseeable future. I wanna like dabble into like doing more oil paintings instead of just focusing on 100% tattoos like I have the last 4 or 5 years. I haven't really touched a paintbrush in a few years, so I need to get back into that. When you're in art, there is no like stopping. You can't plateau, you know what I mean? Like art is supposed to be evolution and expanding and constantly like creative and new ideas and trying to do something, whether that's from like learning your skills to like learning the marketing or like developing the style, like applying the technique. Everything has its own little thing, so you got to be constantly developing, so there's always work to be done.